Hey everyone, I'm Addie Huff. I am Miss Santaquin 2020, and my platform is Stand Up and Celebrate Diversity in Our Community. Part of my platform is I'm going to be interviewing people who are diverse in our community. And the first person that I chose to interview is Marvin Sanders. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Addie. First of all, I would like to give thanks to my Heavenly Father for this opportunity to be here with you. My name is Marvin Sanders. I grew up in Los Angeles, born and raised in Los Angeles. My parents are deaf, so I basically grew up in deaf culture. But as I got older, it became Black culture. I have a brother and a sister, 5 children. That's it as far as introducing myself.
Awesome. How old are all your kids?
My children, 39, 36. My girls, 39, 36, 33. And then my boys, 18 and 13.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you got a big family.
Pretty big, yeah.
That's awesome.
My girls are in Los Angeles and my boys are here in Utah.
Nice. Okay, so basically we're just going to do a Q&A, and I just came up with a few questions, so we will just go through them. So let's get started. So my first question is, since you're considered diverse, Marvin, here in Utah, what is one thing you wish people understood about you?
Understood about me and when a person doesn't know me, it seems like I'm viewed as a bad person first,
Exactly.
not by everyone, but quite a few people I'm viewed as a possible bad person until they get to know me. I hear comments, especially from my work. I hear comments at work that make me want to stand up for Black people, American Black people,
Yeah.
and explain to them that it's not that way. What you've heard on the news or whatever the negative stuff that you believe, it's not all of that, because we're loving people. We're kind, forgiving people.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I like them to know.
Yeah, I like how you said that, because at the end of the day, I feel like that's all that matters.
Yes.
And sometimes people don't want to get to know the person. They just start to judge. And if we could just get to know people a little bit more instead of stereotyping, I think that would solve a lot of problems.
Right.
Because I felt that too, and I know some other people have too, and it's not okay. And it's hard to connect with people. So when you're able to really sit down and have a conversation with somebody, that's when you get to really know them.
Right, that's important conversation. The 4 things that I push because I'm part of the Black Lives Matter movement,
Mm-hmm.
which I like to say is different from the organization, since the organization has so many negative things about it.
Yeah.
But like far as the movement, I like to say, let's identify or bring awareness, have conversation, let's create solutions, and then all lives will matter.
Exactly. So what pushed you to want to do Black Lives Matter, the movement?
A lot of the negative things I was hearing about the peaceful protests that the American Black people were trying to have, such as Kaepernick, the football player, him taking a knee, and other attempted peaceful protests.
Yeah.
And the comments that I would hear, mainly, from work, a lot from work, which had me arguing with people. And then I realized I was having an argument with this guy, which has become my best friend now. And I realized we have different views. We have different cultural backgrounds. So my experiences are different than his. He didn't experience police brutality. I've experienced it. I have an aunt during the Watch riot. She was on her way home to her little boys, and she's deaf. and she didn't know the National Guards were behind her, and they shot her 4 times in the back. And I was about seven or eight, but I always remember the holes that I saw in her back and her laying down on the ground in pain, laying down on her floor because she couldn't move. And so my family has always been an advocate for equality and doing what's right, to speak up for what's right, whether it's deaf rights, human rights, American Black people's rights, and I guess it's in my DNA.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I really like what you said about how you and your friend that argued, how you just have civil conversations. I really like that because that's when we're able to learn. If we can just set down aside our beliefs and just listen to someone, and maybe we'll walk away from the conversation thinking, I disagree with that, but maybe we can try and see where they're coming from.
Exactly. You know? Yeah. Civil conversation makes a big difference. We may not agree, but you know, we still have respect for each other.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so my second question is, what is the hardest part of being a minority here in Payson, Utah?
That's a difficult question because I love it here in Payson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, growing up in Los Angeles, and now I'm in a quiet spot, beautiful mountains around me. I think probably one of the most difficult is when I hear the negatives about the problems or the issues that the American Black people are facing. You know, the police brutality, the black on black crime, the education, the difference in education. I notice a big difference from Los Angeles to here in Utah.
Yeah.
You know, people mingle with the police. When I was growing up in Los Angeles,
Oh yeah, there probably was none of that.
it wasn't. You know, there'd be a police officer ride by my house, and I'm a kid. I'm waving. He never waved at me. He acted like he never seen me. You know. Then eventually those waves became the middle finger. You know, and you know where I see here in Payson, man, police will wave at you,
Yeah.
talk to the kids. You know, so that's one of the differences.
It is definitely different. Yeah. So, has there ever been a time where somebody made a difference in your life by accepting your differences? If so, tell me about it.
There is, but there's 4 important people in my life. 2 are black, 2 are white. The 2 black people, the first 2, my dad, very important man in my life, hard worker, fought for what's right, fought for deaf rights. I was the interpreter for him as a kid, and so I would hear the nasty things that people would say to him because he was deaf and black, and he didn't back down. He didn't back down, and I didn't interpret everything that I heard because I was young and I wasn't going to say those terrible things.
Yeah.
But my dad never backed down, and he was a hard worker, and his family was first. The second person was a man named James Gilliard, call him Big Willie. He taught me about business. He helped me get my first business going. He took me under his wings. He gave me my first good paying job right out of high school, and schooled me on life also. The third and fourth people are when I moved on as I got older. I got into a business. I got with this company, and they were a shipping company. They did trucks and shipped by air freight. These 2 white guys, they hired me, a young dude, and I saw one of them maybe about 7 years ago here in Utah. He lives in Utah. His name is Ray Clark, and his partner was Mike Kruger. I love those guys. They hired me for a job in air freight, and they were training me air freight, and they said, Marvin, we're gonna move on from here, but we're gonna teach you everything you need to know about air freight. And by them teaching me these things, I was able to be a wanted commodity in the air freight business in Los Angeles.
That's awesome.
And I owe those men a lot, because they taught me everything I needed to know. And that's why when I see unfair practices in businesses and corporations where they're separating the minority and giving, like giving the white people all of the breaks and stuff, and they're keeping the minority down, it's in my DNA. I have to speak up.
Yeah.
It's detrimental. My family say, you need to be quiet because you're gonna lose your job. And I try, but I can't. It's like I told a boss of mine, I said, the black people that comes into this company, they need to see leaders to know that they can do it. If these white guys didn't give me if they didn't train me and teach me how to be a leader, then I wouldn't have been where I'm at. I may have been out there selling drugs, doing carjackings or whatever ridiculous crime, crazy crime, because I didn't have money. But by them taking me under their wings, they taught me how to succeed in that business. And I was able to do things that I probably never would have been able to do. I was able to travel around the United States. And these are things because those guys, helped me. And I want to help other kids. And it doesn't matter the race, creed, or color. If I see unfair practices, I'm going to speak up.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've learned that too. I think you were at the Payson protest that I spoke at. I don't know if you remember that.
I
but
do.
That day I wasn't going to go to that protest because my mom was just saying how it was being like highly protested against.
Yes.
So we got there and she finally let me go down. And it was when we were all taking a knee for George Floyd that I just realized that I really need to use my voice, because I used to be quiet, and I've just realized that it doesn't matter what people say about you, as long as you stood up for what you think is right. I think that's all that matters.
That's right.
And especially if you do it in like a respectful way and you're not trying to start up anything, you just want the person to listen to you, then I think that's where we all need to try a little bit harder on.
I agree with you, and I thank you, and I remember you speaking, and that was an emotional moment to realize how long that 8 minutes and 46 seconds was.
Yeah.
That was a long time. It was emotional, and you did a very good job there.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you tell young kids who are diverse here that struggle with accepting their diversity? Because for me growing up, it was really hard because I was surrounded with a whole bunch of white people, and there was no one to really look up to. And I know there's people out there that feel like that too. And maybe not just kids, but all ages. What would you tell them?
Try to learn your heritage, where about your people that you came from, the Africans, the American black people. We have a harder time going back in our genealogy. Like I only can go back like three, 4 generations at the most. When I hear like my wife's family, man, they go all the way back to England, all the way back to Jesus Christ. They can go all the way back there. And I only can go to 3 or 4 generations. That's hard.
Yeah, it
But
is.
don't get frustrated. Don't be that typical stereotype of, I gotta sell drugs, I gotta be a positive. Just always be positive as much as you can, and to do positive things. Go to school, get that education, to continue to upbring your community, to be a positive influence in your community. When you hear someone saying negative things about you, respectfully, state your opinion about it. But don't get into no big shouting match or calling each other names and things like that, either they're going to listen or they're not.
Exactly.
You know, turn your back on them. If they're not going to listen, turn your back. You know,
Yeah,
and go about your business and let's keep on moving.
I like that. So back to your Black Lives Matter, the movement. How do you deal with do you get ever pushback on that? Like, do people ever say anything about it negatively, and how do you deal with that?
Yes, I have gotten pushback, negative pushback, and also a fear. You know, my family, they were like, you need to change the name. You need to change the name. And I thought about it, and I listened to their argument about why I need to change the name. And there were people that had just the word Black Lives Matter is a negative connotation to people. And I listened to them, and I realized to have a conversation, you have to listen also. A lot of times they would tell me all of their reasons, but when it was time for me to speak, they wouldn't listen. It was all about them, and that's cool. And I just came to the conclusion, I'm like, you know, this Black Lives Matter, the movement, is another negative blow to what we're trying to do as a peaceful movement. But I'm not gonna let them take that from me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that, I'm gonna fight and make it a positive reason why Black Lives Matter. It's not just about Black lives, you know, let me see if I can say this right. Black Lives Matter, the movement, is about empowering people, education, black on black crime, having a voice, voting, family, to try to incorporate all of that. What does it mean to you when you hear the phrase Black Lives Matter? It's not a negative thing. It means that, you know, all of the negative stuff that happens to us, you act like it's nothing. It's just, oh, it's something random. But when you have most of the American black people in the country saying the same thing and a few that's disagreeing, and you listening to those few, something's wrong. Mm-hmm. You know, because I've been a victim of police brutality. I've been a victim of unfair practices in corporate America, you know, and I've seen it. So one of my leaders at work, when I was discussing the issues that I have with discrimination and the unfair practices, he said to me, "What you gonna do?" And in my mind, I said, if I was the leader, I would have said, "What can we do?" And he said, "What you gonna do?" This is what I'm doing. This is it. Black Lives Matter, the movement.
Exactly.
To bring awareness.
Yeah, just by you saying that, it shows like exactly what you're trying to do, and I really like that.
Thank you.
How do you think diversity can improve perspective?
To improve perspective, I just believe that it would help us to become one, one nation under God, if we would accept each other and listen to each other. You know, we have all these different cultural backgrounds, you know. Let's listen and have some compassion, you know. I think when the issue happened to George Floyd, first thing I was hearing at work and out on the streets, oh, he was a criminal anyway, he was a criminal, this, yada, yada, yada. Yes, he may have been, but his crime didn't deserve the brutality of the way he died. Yeah. You know? Now they're saying, oh, he overdosed. I can't believe everything I hear in the media and what the police and the Justice Department puts out there because we know there's a systemic problem in America. And it's even embedded in me. You know, there's a systemic problem inside of me. When I get pulled over by a police and I haven't done anything wrong, maybe I might have, you know, I pull out my license and I'm shaking like a leaf, wondering, you know, man, is this a bad cop or what? You know, there PTSD. You know, there's a systemic problem in America, and it's deep. You know, so I think we need to be kind and listen and be able to have these conversations.
Yeah, and be civil about them.
Yes.
Too, I think.
Yes.
So what's the main difference you've noticed living here and then in LA?
Well, number one, the cultural difference. I came from a majority black area, and then I moved to a majority white area. And to see how patriotic the people are here, had made me have to show, hey, I'm just as patriotic as you are. You know, my next door neighbor, he put a flag out every day, you know, and he told me the flag have to be back in the house before sundown. And he would put that flag out and take it down. Mr. Claiborne, my next door neighbor, he's a lot older now, but he's a vet, and he loved America. And he would always talk to me growing up as a kid about this country. And no matter what, I know he loves America. And to see that here made me like, yeah, you know, I'm patriotic also. So I don't understand why these people are having all these different flags out here when there should just be one flag, this flag that you have here. All these mutilated flags should be an insult to America, because we all should be under one flag. And
we're under
and I'm offended when I see these different flags. You know, but it's okay for them to have these variations of the flag, which don't mean anything, but anti-America, because this flag is American. It's America's flag. And hopefully one day they'll realize that. Sorry, I just get caught up on.
No, you're good. So do you think, because there's not many African Americans living here in Utah as other states.
Right.
Do you think it's because people don't feel comfortable living here, or what's your opinion on that?
My daughter tried to live here and she didn't feel comfortable. She said there was a lot of people were very rude to her, you know, and so she left back to LA. Me, I don't let it bother me. You know, I'll say hello. You don't say nothing, I'll keep on moving, you know. Here in Payson, from the first day I came here, I got love from people. I got love from my neighbors, to the point where I was like, thank you, God, for sending me here, because this is the place I need to be, you know. And I love it so much that people be trying to get me to go out of town, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm right here. I love it. So, you know, people do, like Black American people do have issue. Some that I met, no, they have issues with coming to Utah. They're worried, you know, because there is they're worried about being hurt out here, you know, because there are some people that are pretty radical. You know, and we just have to be careful. You know, I'm careful on all my moves I make, and you know, you don't bother me, I won't bother you. I'll keep on moving. And you just keep on moving your way. Whatever you like, that's your thing. You know.
So your two boys,
Yes.
Would you tell them, because I know growing up, for them it's probably scary. How do you help them get through life with that?
I've always told them that you'll be treated differently. because of your skin color. I need you to go to school, get an education, so you can be able to help change that in life. When you're pulled over by the police, don't talk back, because I want you to live to see another day, and you can fight it in court. Take them to court if you feel that they're wrong. And that's just what I've instilled in them from the every day. If they're around people that have guns, get away from them. If they're around people that steal, get away from them, because you'll be considered the ringleader and you'll get the harshest times. Just because of your skin color. And so these are the things that I instilled in my boys, especially being here in Utah. We never had to deal with the justice system, but we know the justice system will apply a harsher penalty to the American black people. And that's what I let them know. So stay out of trouble, because if you get in trouble while you're young, you're gonna have to deal with me, and you probably gonna wish you was in jail. And so that's what I instilled in them.
Awesome. Let's see. If you could change one thing in the world, what would it be?
That's a difficult question, because I think about that. What could I change? Right now, there's so much happening in the world, especially in the United States. It's up to your generation. Is probably going to be the generation that makes the change as everybody comes together. I wish we could come together as a family. That's what I would love to see. But right now, there's so much hatred out there that I don't see it happening unless some type of catastrophe happens. That usually brings us together, especially as Americans. 9/11 brought us together. Some kind of catastrophe will have to bring us together, and I don't want to see that. I want us to come together as a human and respect each other. That's all. Just have respect for each other.
Yeah, because when you have respect, it changes everything.
It does.
It's hard to have a conversation with somebody that just dismisses you, and because when you don't feel heard, I feel like, for me personally, when I don't feel heard, it hurts me. And I think a lot of African Americans feel that way, that we're not heard, and it makes kids do things they shouldn't do.
Right.
And I don't know, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's why some kids start running the streets, is because they feel like no one feels them and hears them,
That's true.
And a lot of people just think that they just grew up like that and it's because of their families, but I just think it's because they don't have anyone to turn to.
Yes. You just brought up a thought. My 13-year-old, he hangs around kids that are pretty wealthy, two-parent homes, professionals, and they're wealthy, and their kids get a lot of stuff. And I'm a single parent, blue-collar worker, just trying to get them through life.
Yeah.
And I just had a talk with my 13-year-old. I was like, you'll see your friends and stuff, they have all of this and that, and you'll be wanting that. Do not think that you have to steal to get it or rob, because people get desperate and they want to have that and they want to do these things, steal, rob, sell drugs, But if you go to school, work hard, cut grass, you can have whatever you want. And that's what we have to do. When we get in that desperate situation, then we do desperate things. We gotta figure out how to make moves in desperation that will be beneficial to us and our community.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm out of questions. Is there anything else that you have to say or anything?
No, I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity
Thanks for coming.
to do this, Miss Santaquin. Hey.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's
All
awesome.
Right. Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
All right. Keep it up.
Thanks.